Hi there. In this video, I want to show you how we move to admin staff starting to file more and more of results for you. In time, this may not be needed because TPP are planning to release at some point a kind of auto filing engine, but I suspect there'll still be need for some of it due to the protocols and calculations we do for this system. So I've come to pathology results and the inbox patient data is hidden. And I want to show you with a few different results how the system works and how we approach this. Now, probably the first thing to show you actually is this pathology filing crib sheet that we've put together for admin staff. Now, I hasten to add with this, we can provide you with this as a template, but it is up for you as a practice to decide what things you want staff to file. And often it's best to start with the kind of most barn door things and work from there. What we've done is we've given them a list of things that we're happy for them to file as long as the result is normal and in range. So, for example, serum magnesium level, we're doing a few more of those these days because the recall system's doing some checks for interactions there. So with this serum magnesium level, I can review the report and the um, spreadsheet shows me if it's normal in range, I file it as satisfactory, no action, and there's no comment that needs to be added. So when it finally gets there, I will do that. Just while it's waiting to do that, I'll show you a few more things here. A lot of the results are a bit more nuanced. So bowel cancer screening, for example, one of the most common ones, sadly, is no response. And our reports and systems can be used to send patients information to say, please do respond to bowel screening invites and explain why. Some of them are a bit more complicated. So like EGFRs, we're looking potentially for drops. And this section here explains that a bit more. But these 3 stars here mean that we've done a protocol filing guidance, protocol for filing guidance that explains to staff what they can file when. That can either be launched on a manually, kind of one by one basis, or you can configure it to work for certain staff in your practice. So back to our magnesium level, let's mark that, and I'll get used to using battery as reviewed, and you'll see why in a moment. Right, let me close this one. We'll go to a bigger, chunkier group and show you how that works. So with the different battery headers, it's important to kind of get admin staff used to approaching it like that because particularly there's a clump of tests. It may be that some of them they can file, but not all. So if we come down a bit, let's pick a slightly bigger, chunkier group and see what we can do. Now, one slight downside with the way that protocols work in System 1, they can't tell what you're looking at. So for example, here it's telling me file PSA as satisfactory, no action. Sadly, that's not what I've actually got in the screen. One other slight issue that you can see here is that someone has already filed all these results. We're on top of this one because there's 6 hidden, shows me that there are 6 results that are hidden that have already been processed. And if I click on that, I can see who's done it and when. I can see how they've filed it. So for example, here I can see it's been filed that the ESR target for this patient is 40.5. It's below that target, so although it's outside the reference range, our filing guidance has enabled that to be filed. And actually I will save, no, it won't let me anyway because I'm in hidden patient mode. Let's see if I can find one that's come in more recently. Perhaps if I order it by date. Lots of kidney failure risk equations. This is really frustrating. Our lab at the moment love to send these to us and they're nearly all useless because unless they happen to have an ACR at the same time, they can't calculate it. So they tell us that. And anyway, our systems can calculate the KFRE in the background based on the latest EGFR and latest ACR. Again, if you want that running in the background as part of your pathology system, let us know and we can enable that. So, I mean, this is useless. There's no result. It's unknown other because there is no actual result there. But we will have calculated a KFRE in the background for that patient if it's indicated that is. So if there's an EGFR that's less than 60. Right, let's go. Right, here's a bit more of a list. Again, this may well have been done already. Probably should have asked people not to file everything this morning. Okay, good. So this pop-up here is telling me to file urea and electrolytes as satisfactory, no action. So although the urea is raised, It's the EGFR I'm more interested in, and the protocol in the background will perform various checks. So if the EGFR was less than 90, it will potentially be looking, is there a kind of more than 10% drop in the last 18 months? We can go through with you the kind of detail behind it. From an admin point of view, don't need to worry about that. I do what the system tells me. And there's another one here, TSH is satisfactory, no action. So I'm going to do the battery as reviewed. So that was satisfactory, no action. And then I'll move on to the next one. Now, LFTs, if I go back to the spreadsheet, are in our list of things we're happy to be filed if all normal and in range. When staff start, they tend to refer to this a lot. In time, they get to know it very well. So again, I can file that as satisfactory, no action. HbA1c, we have a pop-up in place now if it's over 100, because that we think needs urgent same-day attention. Other than that, we've got a really simple algorithm, so we don't really bother with a pop-up, although we can put one in place if you want. If it's less than 42, it's filed as satisfactory, no action. 42 to 99, unknown other. And then we've got this little preset message, which is really just for sort of audit purposes, that explains that we're not saying the result is good or bad, we don't know. It depends on the patient, but our systems will work it out. So again, mark battery is reviewed, unknown other, and then I've got in my presets that basically that preset there, and I can OK that. And then TSH. Now, say I'd forgotten what the guidance was that pinged up at me. This little icon here, test tube with numbers, click on that, and it will bring them up. It's not bringing up the U&E one anymore because I've filed that. It's just showing me this one, and again, it's giving me the reasons why. And there's a bit of a clue here that sometimes if a TSH is out of range, it will still tell me to file results, but it will give me different instructions. So by using this approach, we've managed to get to about half of all results being filed by admin staff. Yeah, you can watch the pathology demo video. If you're watching this, you're probably already signed up for this module, so I probably don't need to sell it to you. But that's a kind of intro to how we get admin staff filing results. We tend to encourage them to order it by battery headers so they can approach it like that. Things that need really urgent attention, it will direct them to do that. Let me just show you a few examples of where I suspect it's going to tell me not to file, which is probably why these ones are left here. Although it might not, we'll see. Yep, bingo. So do not file. So the highest EGFR in the last 18 months was 86. It's dropped more than 10% since, and the drop since the highest is 21%, and the latest is 68. Now, that doesn't necessarily, if you're a clinician, doesn't necessarily mean we're expecting you to do lots of things with it, but it may be. In fact, looking at it, you can see it's a pretty big drop there since about a year ago. So I'm not a clinician, I'm not going to file that, I'm not going to touch that, and so we leave them for there. Some practices prefer to work differently and say, well, let's task those instead. We can configure the system to work like that for you if you'd like. But generally, we found this sort of approach works best. Hope that helps, and let us know any queries you've got. Thanks.